Welcome back to the Health Thinking Meet. I'm Dr. Dan with Dr. Pascal. So today we want to finish this series that we started a little while ago. And really our goal here is to give you information on how to help yourself get better faster. Patients are coming in saying, okay, doc, I have this problem, I have this pain, my posture is an issue, I have the headaches. So we took an x-ray, we checked their posture, we said, okay, well, we got to go from here, point A to point B, and we're starting that progression or that change. And now we're looking at, okay, so how could we maximize the speed or correction of the spine, but also how do we now maintain it and hold it in position? And we talked about three main things that we need. We need adjustments in rhythm. We need stretches and exercises to hold the spine into that position. But now we need to address the bad habits that we may all do that kind of basically takes all the good things that we're doing and shoves it aside, and our spine takes a nosedive, meaning that we could do all the great adjustments and all the great postural exercises, but if you go back and have your head down at 90 degrees looking at your phone for 3 hours a night, now we're basically breaking everything that we worked so hard to do.
And I think the elephant in the room here is that 3 hours, Dr. Dan, might even be on the low end of what we're seeing, just based on screen time and screen time reports. You know, like I think my screen time is about 3 to 4 hours a day, and I'm, and that's just messages and in between small moments when I have a free moment. That's not somebody that might have a lot more free time and spend their day on their phone. And so I think the reality is most people are probably spending upwards of 3 hours a day in that bad position. And that's the number one habit I think that is going to be a factor for generations to come in terms of maintaining proper spinal health.
Yeah.
So that's the number one, right? Addressing that posture, if you will.
So meaning that, okay, so what are you doing on a daily basis? We have to first kind of address that, meaning that, okay, are you, sitting down at work? Are you doing most of your work on a laptop on the couch? Are you doing work in your bed with your head kind of in a position, working on your phone, on emails? So we have to first address what is your, let's say, reality, and what are minor things that we could change or adapt to still allow you to do some of that work, but to minimize the stress and damage to your spine.
I mean, the reality is there's no such thing as a bad posture.
Yeah.
There's not, I should be very careful with how I say that. There are no bad postures if they're not sustained over time. In other words, to be with your head down for 15, 20 minutes, maybe up to half an hour looking at your phone once a day is not going to do anything wrong. Sitting at a computer for 30 minutes, even if you're slouching for 30 minutes, no big deal. These become problematic when they become multiple hours, habitual, chronic, every single day, where the body learns and adapts into these bad positions, and then you start to get muscle weakness, spine breakdown, ligamentous change, chronic pain, and other health issues that start to cascade because of it. So yeah, number one, I think, is awareness. Yeah. And oftentimes I think when we review x-rays, we review posture with people, they go, oh, do I shift to the left because this is how I sit at my computer all day?
Yeah.
Oh, I never knew my head shifted this far forward. Could it be, looking down at my phone when I'm doing this? And so I think number one is creating the awareness and having people start to go through their daily routine and saying, what are the patterns and what are the habits that I have daily that might be creating some of these problems leading to my health concerns?
So the first thing I think that could be an easy thing for patients to use is, okay, so I use my phone, I use my laptop, I use a tablet, whatever, watching TV, I do all those things and more. So first thing we need to do, like you talked about, well, there's no bad posture if it's not sustained for a long time. So first thing, that's the easiest thing to do is literally, whether it's on your watch, on a phone, or on your computer, just set 30 minutes and just change position every 30 minutes.
Yeah, if you didn't do anything else. Yes. Just take a break every 30 minutes and then do an exercise or a stretch for a few minutes to break up the positioning and get some motion to the body.
You're
and spine.
Breaking that bad habit. So think of it as a reset button. You're playing a video game, you die in the first 2 seconds, you hit reset, you start over.
Yes.
That's our goal, is resetting your position. So that your body's not accumulating stress as the day goes on, It's just resetting. So if there's anything else that you do, just every 30 minutes, take 30 seconds, 30, to change your position and start over.
Because what we were discussing there, someone doing that consistently throughout the day and the reset switch and doing a postural exercise or doing something basic will have better results than someone who sits for their 8-hour day, virtually never getting up, never moving, in a bad posture. Even if that person spends an hour and a half doing postural stuff, trying to exercise at the end of the day, they will not have as good of results as the person that takes breaks and only does 30 seconds, 1 minute at a time, 10, 15 times throughout the day. The person doing multiple breaks will get, mark my words, better results 10 out of 10
Well,
times.
that's where, now it's 5-6 years plus is, the headlines where sitting is the new smoking. And they're basically saying you cannot undo the damage of sitting long term by doing a 2-hour workout at night. You've actually caused more issues with that. Kind of like you can't undo 2 packs of cigarettes a day by eating more broccoli.
Yeah.
You cannot undo those effects.
And I don't think it's, sorry Dr. Dan, I
Yeah.
didn't mean to cut you off. I don't think it's just sitting. I think where we went wrong with leading people to think about sitting, it's inactivity or immobility.
Yes.
And it shouldn't be sitting is the new smoking. I think the headlines, the taglines there should be immobility or sustained positions with immobility is the new smoking. Because, if someone has a standing desk, it's a little bit better than sitting. But if you stand at your desk still, kind of head forward, arms reach forward, and you spend 8 hours doing that without changing, moving, and creating any breaks, it's virtually not much better than sitting. You might have a little bit less back pain, but you're still going to have other issues in the spine. Sitting in your bed with 2 pillows cranked behind your head, looking at your phone, playing video games on your phone for 4, 5, 6 hours is no better than sitting. And so it's not just sitting. I think we should change the tagline and say long periods in one sustained position with immobility is really the new smoking.
So number one, we talked about just being aware of what your posture, what you're doing every day, and to counteract that, take some breaks.
Yep.
Right? Take the breaks. Now the other key thing, and that's probably more so to do with work, electronic activity, phone, tablet, all that kind of stuff. The other things that we have to also look at are things like sleeping position, where you're technically a third of your day is in that position. So we sometimes talk to patients about they're doing their dinner roll for 15 minutes and they're in that great position, but then they go to bed and they have 3 pillows behind their head, pushing their head forward. So they're doing 15 minutes of good position, 8 hours of the opposite to undo all that kind of stuff. So again, it's what are your bad habits that you're creating right now that are not allowing your spine to stay in that right position?
Right.
So I think sleeping position is a key thing. So think of it as, okay, we need the support again on the neck, not on the head, keeping the head, shoulders, hips well aligned if you're on your back, or on your side, same thing, pillow on the neck, not on the head, to create that, again, that proper spinal position.
And I mean, we can get into it beyond posture. Like we're focusing right now really on posture because, I would say that's the number one most direct link that we can measure to spinal problems, spinal breakdown. But we could, we won't get into great detail with it, but we could start going down the road of nutrition, bad habits for nutrition, right? So the more you can improve simplest things like in nutrition with bringing down inflammation, and guess what? Those bad habits will then, same thing, roll into less pain, better flexibility, better healing, better, well, you mentioned sleep, but improving the quality of sleep, not just positioning, but some of the habits and routines in terms of getting a better night's sleep, because when you sleep, your body recovers, you heal, you feel better, and so on and so forth. So we're not just talking about posture when we're talking about habits, we're talking about just globally bad habits, but obviously based on our profession and what we do, we're going to focus on the postural ones.
Right. So I think in kind of the bigger 30,000 view mark is just being aware.
Yes.
I think is the first
step.
big thing. Just being aware of what you do, how you do it. And I think that's the one of the reasons why, for me, I love explaining or showing someone's x-rays, because it's probably the first time that they've actually matched up their, okay, this is what I do and this is where I am. And I never thought of it, saw it, realized it. And as soon as I could understand that, now all of a sudden my whole view is different. Yes. I see, oh, this is the position I'm in. This is how I sleep. This is how I stand. This is how I never knew my shoulder was here, my head was here. So that's the first ability for the patient to realize, oh, I'm aware of it. Now change is more, or it's easier to do at that point.
Correct.
Yeah.
So hopefully that helped.
Yeah.
And finish out the 3-part series of helping you get better faster. So again, if you have any questions, if you wanted an ergonomic assessment from your sitting position because you're forced to sit at work, take a picture, send it to us, or ask us. We'd be happy to help you get better positioning if you're forced to sit or stand at a desk all day. So
Yeah.
give us a call at the office, 204-474-1159, and hope you have a great rest of your healthy commute.